All right, we're here live from IBMA in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm talking to Tommy Erdelyi, also known as Tommy Ramone, and he's from the band Uncle Monk. And first of all, Tommy, you were born in Hungary. When did you come to the United States?
We came here during the Hungarian Revolution, and actually it was a great time to come here. It was sort of like the dawning of rock and roll at the time. So the radio was filled with all kinds of interesting music.
Okay.
And pretty soon after that came the folk boom.
Okay.
And which is really great because my older brother would bring home records from the library of all kinds of great music, string band music and folk music and just great stuff, bluegrass. And so what we would do is we'd make tape copies of these records. So I kind of grew up listening to that. So I grew up with a combination of that and rock and roll, and I guess that's sort of been my life.
Okay. And when did you first become aware of bluegrass music specifically?
Pretty soon after that. When I would go into record stores, I would look for interesting things, and I would come across the bluegrass section. And to me, they always had the best album covers.
Really?
They just fascinated me.
Which one specifically do you remember?
I specifically remember the Stanley Brothers.
Okay. Very good.
And they just had great covers.
Okay, so the covers first attracted your attention.
Yes.
Even. Very interesting. And I've read that the Ramones as a band kind of were interested in bluegrass and old-time music to some extent.
Well, I mean, we were into all kinds of music, and especially myself. And the Ramones are a conglomeration of so many elements. We were connoisseurs of music per se, and so we just had very broad and full influences.
Okay, very good. And let's see, who are the artists, the bluegrass and old-time artists who have influenced you most?
Well, we go all the way back to old-time music, really. The Carter family, Uncle Dave Macon, Kid Tanner, Skillet Lickers, and just starting from there. But especially for us, Uncle Monk, especially the Carter family.
Okay.
And then, of course, on to the Monroe brothers, and all the brother duets were a big influence on us.
Okay.
And then, of course, bluegrass with Bill Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs, and of course the Stanley Brothers, who basically kind of were just sort of, all this really comes out of the Carter family, because they were very much influenced by the Carter family, and so the Stanley Brothers were a huge influence, and on and on.
Okay. Let's see, when did you start teaching yourself how to play bluegrass instruments?
About 15 years ago, I bought a banjo, and soon after got a mandolin, and just absolutely fell in love with the instrument. So it just, they're magic instruments. You start playing them, and it's just I always loved the sound of the instruments. I just never realized that I would end up playing them, I had played guitar before, and the banjo is just so different from the guitar. So it was like a whole different universe. And,
do you play five like Scruggs style?
I play both Scruggs style and plowhammer. Since I like both genres, and to me they it depends on the song, really, and as far as Earl Scruggs is concerned, I mean, to me, there's a few people that I consider like geniuses of of any kind, but he to me was one. I mean, when I first heard him, I said, it sounded like something from another dimension, the sound of his banjo, and but that was a long time ago. I was young, but it's just like when you first hear that, it's just so, it's just so intense and so. Where has this been all my life, kind of stuff,
That's great. How exciting. Let's see. Have you ever studied, with a particular bluegrass instrumentalist, or had a lesson or anything like that?
No, I'm pretty much self-taught from lessons and from records.
Sure.
And being from New York, there wasn't much opportunity. So a lot of people in bluegrass, basically they have, they go to the festivals and parking lot pickers and jams and stuff like that. But being from where I was and doing what I was doing, which was very busy, I didn't have that much opportunity to do that. So it's now that I'm really getting the opportunity to get involved with jams and stuff like that. But I'm self-taught from records and things like that.
Very good.
But what that allowed me is basically kind of by doing that, I sort of came up with my own way of playing, I suppose, which wasn't intentional. It just sort of happened that way. Another thing was that I play all the instruments, because when we made our record, I play all the instruments on it. But when we started performing, we didn't have an opportunity to bring all the instruments with us. So I ended up playing the mandolin, on stage. And what I did was sort of transpose a lot of the parts from the banjo and the dobro and everything onto the mandolin.
Okay.
And by doing that, we sort of came up. That sort of helped create a new style in itself.
Okay.
So. And of course our songs are we're very much traditional influenced, the basic groundwork of our music. But lyrically we sing about our own lives, our situations. The songs are like biographical and sort of our mindset. So they're kind of modern songs with traditional sort of under.
How did you meet Claudia Tienan?
I met her in the New York music scene. She was in an act called the Simplistics, and we actually put a band together, also called Uncle Monk. It was sort of like what would now be called a jam band.
Okay.
And that's sort of also when I got started. I bought the banjo and stuff like that, and so we started incorporating old-time music and bluegrass elements into what we were doing then. And after that happened, we sort of started dropping the electric instruments.
Okay. So it was a process then. It didn't happen overnight. It's sort of an evolution.
Exactly.
Or a de-evolution, if you will.
Well, to us it was an evolution.
Sure.
Because the more we did that, the better it sounded to us.
Oh, neat. That's really neat.
And so it evolved into an acoustic act, and it grew in depth, because to us acoustic instruments just have more depth.
That's very true. Yeah, I very much understand. And what are the origins of your band name?
It was a name I thought of a long time ago. I just thought it was an interesting sounding kind of name, but it's also an homage sort of to Thelonious Monk and the painter Edward Munch.
Let's see. And you wrote a couple of country tunes for the Ramones' fourth record, Road to Ruin. Have you been, have you been writing country tunes all along?
Well, my music has always had a heavy country influence. With the Ramones, it was I had already left the band and I was producing their record, and it was called, that particular record was Road to Ruin, and we added a lot of elements from country and bluegrass onto that record, which maybe a lot of people aren't aware of. But if they play the record now, they'll hear it.
They'll hear it.
It's there.
And how is writing bluegrass material similar to writing punk tunes? I think maybe minimal chord patterns, I imagine.
They're similar. First of all, the whole structure of both genres are similar in their underpinnings. They're deceptively simple chord structures, but they have a lot of depth and meaning and feeling and emotion. And people can pick up their instruments and sort of express themselves in a very profound way. So there's that similarity, and they're just connected that way.
Okay, and let's see. Claudia's vocals are very unusual. They're quite ethereal. They're soft and homespun. What's it like to work with her? You know, what is her? I mean, your styles are quite different, but they're very complementary.
Yeah, Claudia has a unique sense of and style, and she sort of has a darker vision. I have a sort of a brighter vision, and the two of us actually create quite a broad spectrum. And she's a wonderful songwriter. She comes up with very unique ideas, and our combination of our songwriting creates what have been very kind of unique songs that we've been fortunate to. Our records have gotten some nice reviews, some good reviews. So we're very pleased with that. And we have very interesting songs. Very kind of. It's a different way of looking at taking these bluegrass elements and creating sort of new ideas with it.
Very good. And was this the first time that you co-wrote 5 of the tunes on your recording with Claudia? Was this the first time you'd co-written since the days of the Ramones?
Yes, actually it has been, and the process actually is quite similar.
Really?
The elements, I guess that's just the way it seems that I work best. Because this way you bring interesting new elements into it. Because these people come from in areas where they don't necessarily think of themselves in very sort of structured, sort of blueprint ways. They bring different elements in, which opens totally new doors of interesting ideas. And I love working like that.
Very good, very good. Who is Mr. Endicott? That's a delightful tune. I loved it.
Thank you. He's an archetype, I guess, boss that certainly a lot of people work for, and it's certainly an experience that one has when they first get a job when they're young, and they're at the bottom of the totem pole, whatever, and there probably is layers of Mr. Endicotts, but
yeah,
it's different ways of looking at a work situation.
Very good. And I also, I enjoyed all of the material. It's a great CD. I listened to it this morning at length. I also love the final tune, the Wishing at the Moon. So simple and so, 2 basic chords and just so simple, but really, really lovely and touching. I mean, it has a haunting quality. What was your inspiration for that tune?
The inspiration for that song was we were planning to move upstate from New York at the time. And
that's where you live now? You live in...
No, I'll tell you what the inspiration was. We had just gotten back for the first time we ever went to Melfest.
Oh, boy. Did you perform? Were you there as performers?
No.
Check it out.
No, we were just there. We had just purchased a car and drove down there. And we had such a great time. And we just got the beauty of the mountains and everything, and the nature, and so it was that kind of a sort of bucolic type thing that inspired the song.
Wonderful, wonderful. What did you think of Merlefest?
That's great,
isn't it? I honeymooned there, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that festival. It's one of the very best. And that was what year? When did you go?
This was actually a while ago. This was in 1993.
Okay.
So that was a long time ago. And then we moved upstate after that.
Okay. So you've really been this has been germinating, this project, for quite a while, or at least the songs on this project.
Yeah, well, that song was inspired then, and yeah.
Now, what has been the reaction by your hardcore punk fans from years ago, and your new punk fans, because of course, you know, everything, all the kids kind of rediscover things. I know my daughter is flipping out at home that I'm actually interviewing Tommy Ramone because Blitzkrieg Bop is one of her favorite songs. So how are your hardcore punk fans reacting to your new adventures in old time and bluegrass music?
It's interesting, you know, because to a lot of them this is the first time they're ever hearing music like this. And the first reaction I have on seeing them is that they're surprised that they like it. You know, they don't know why they like it. They do like it, and of course the reason they like it is because of the underlying similarities.
Yes.
And it's just wonderful to introduce them to acoustic music, and so that's just part of our audience that comes. You know, what we do is we get a combination of you know, acoustic music fans, bluegrass fans, old time music fans, depending on the venue we play, and indie music fans. And so it's interesting because we kind of cross genres a little bit, and so depending on the venue we play, we get like different audiences.
That's interesting. And conversely, you know, what about your peers in the I guess the rock and the punk industry? You know, have you touched base with them or heard any feedback from them about what you're doing with Uncle Mom?
They're very happy for me, pretty much, and a lot of them are actually. I guess the reaction basically is, "Wow, you actually reinvented yourself," and because this is like actually being born again. I mean, we're really starting something, and so they're very much, you know, they compliment me on that, on doing that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And have you connected with any bluegrass musicians? Any of the folks that you have admired, you know, their music on their records, and you know, as you first discovered bluegrass and old time music, have you been able to talk to any musicians?
Well, we had an amazing experience because one of the gigs we opened for Ralph Stanley, right? I mean, I never could have ever imagined a situation where, you know, where something like that could actually happen.
Where was this?
This was at the B.B. King Blues Club in New York City.
Oh, of course.
And it was just an amazing experience. And everyone was so nice, and we got, you know, and that was just a unique experience to meet the whole band and everything. But what it was even more amazing is that doing that, when the show went well, and they invited us back to open for Earl Scruggs. And now I mentioned before about, you know, so it was indescribable that, and he was so nice, you know, and Randy was there, and Gary was there, and it was just amazing, you know, and it was so nice. So that was a unique experience. But being here at the IBMA, you know, we've been coming to IBMA for years, but we were incognito.
Okay.
We were just here to enjoy it and have a good time. The first time we came was just for the Fan Fest, and then 2 years following we came as IBMA members, but in incognito. But this year, you know, I guess they know we're here, and we're meeting a lot of people. Everyone's like really nice, and so we're meeting, like you said, all our, you know, idols and the people we've been fans of, you know. And it's actually, for someone like me, I mean, I've been intensely listening to this music now for 15 years, because, you know, to play those instruments, you got to listen to a lot of music.
Oh yeah.
So to actually meet these people, it's just, it's indescribable, really, to be honest with you.
That's terrific. That's so cool. Have you done any jamming here at IBMA?
I did a little jamming the other night, and that was unique. I got a chance to play actually with an old time band, the Freighthoppers.
The Freighthoppers. Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
And that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
And so next year, you know, when we come back, I'm gonna hone up on all the bluegrass standards, so I can do more of that.
Yeah.
'Cause that was a lot of fun.
That's such a valuable experience, I should think, for for any musician who comes here to just find a corner where somebody's picking and join in. It really, as you said, it's time to bone up on the standards, and that's really great. Let's see. What have you seen here that most intrigued or impressed you here at IBMA?
All the hard work that people put in to their music. I mean, obviously it's a very competitive situation, and I mean, from the young kids who come up with all the enthusiasm and they start learning at a very young age, to some of the more established acts. All the work that goes into the arranging the songs and honing everything down, and it just it impresses me that dedication to that, and the virtuosity here is just unbelievable, and to see so many just talented people, it's just amazing. To have one place with so many talented people, it's just.
I know, it's pretty amazing, and the caliber of the kids. I mean, we were just wandering through the hotel very, very late. I mean, it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning, and there were a group of young kids that, they couldn't have been more than 15 years old, and the youngest one was probably 10, and they were sitting there playing avant-garde. I mean, just really, Mahavishnu, mandolin orchestra, crazy stuff, and then they were jamming on some old classic stuff, and it just, the versatility of these kids is really, I think, very, very exciting. So let's see, what are the dates that you've played to support your first recording? Where have you been with it?
Oh, we've actually done extensive touring. Of course, we played the Northeast, but then we headed south last year. We did a tour of, North Carolina, Kentucky, Georgia, and this year we got to play Nashville. We got to play Tennessee, and then of course this year we played Missouri and Oklahoma and Kansas and Nebraska and Colorado. And so we've been all over. We did some West Coast shows too, and
very good.
We're slowly building. We want to hone our act too. So we've been doing that to where now we're here, and we did some showcases here, and so we're happy that how we've done that. Sort of grown organically.
Yes, as all good grass does, I guess. And what will you be doing when you leave Nashville?
We're going to be starting on our new record.
Oh.
So we're going to start recording that, and in between that, we're going to be doing some shows. We're going to Boston and Ohio and Michigan too. We're just spreading dates in between. Working on the record.
Okay, and where will you be recording that?
Well, we have one thing good about this music is you can do it in the comfort of your own home.
Yes.
And we have a nice little setup, and so we'll be doing that.
Okay. And will it be all originals?
Well, we'll put the originals down, and then we might include some traditional songs too on the new one. We're not sure yet. We'll see how it works out.
But again, it'll be probably just the duo configuration, you and Claudia. Are you thinking of inviting some guests then? Or
Possibly.
That'll be exciting. That would be great.
We are thinking about it.
And I guess there must have the challenges of recording all the parts, all the instrumentation on your first recording had to have been fun.
It was a lot of fun, and the thing about this new record is we've improved so much over the past 2 years that we're anxious to find out how this one's going to work out.
Well, we're looking forward to it very much, Tommy. I guess that's it. That's all I have. Once again, this is Tommy Ramone from Uncle Monk. He's the the last surviving original member of the Ramones, the famous punk band, and he is now picking some bluegrass and some old time for all us fans here at IBMA, and we're just honored to have spoken with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol.